Alright, so today I'm going to be going over part 3 of my tier list. Um, so I've been actually paying attention to things that have going on recently with the progression of characters being utilized by top players in other parts of the world, and just characters being good or used well, I should say. Um, and Bayonetta in general um, has been being used better. Um, Still say she kind of needs to have the kind of buffs I was kind of trying to mention, where she needs. It's not just a matter of consistency, but a kill. Um, and that would again bring her kind of where I mentioned here at least somewhere in here. Not sure of the order, but it would depend on because um, she's kind of shown she can do that. She can handle these other characters pretty well in the right hands. But being able to kill earlier makes a big deal. Put her probably realistically right in here, just because of how good her witch time and being able to utilize that into her moveset more and her bats within, and being able to kill earlier than 150, 125% ranges like that would be important. It adds to the consistency a lot, but unfortunately, again, because um, she just doesn't have that. Again, it's the same thing, kind of like the problem Zelda has. Like, Zelda can kill, but she doesn't have the consistency. That's the problem with Sheik. Like, Sheik has consistency, but she can't kill. That's why I stuck them down here in this category. Um, I mean, technically, I should put these two right here. Is what I should do, but I mean, we can't count online too much technically. But when we see offline come in, we'll probably see um, a huge improvement with a lot of players and characters too, because they'll have more strategies and ideas to look and see what will probably translate better to offline. Um, but now we're going to move up to this section here to high tier, like the lower end of high tier, which is high mid tier. But still looking over things I've looked at, even some online games I played myself too. I still say Piranha Plant's very good. It just the strategies work so well and are so simple. With them, I mean, technically he could go here and wall out with something like Jigglypuff, but again, there's just not enough results. Um, on high enough level tournaments. Um, and we're talking consistency too with um, these characters as well. This is just the placement. Even though there are going to be certain players and these certain characters are going to do really good, we're talking about overall consistency with the uh, overall players and most players that use these characters. Just checking something here. Yep. Yep. So, alright, it's just checking something quick. Alright, and then Now we're moving on to the what is essentially like the tier where Yoshi is. Yoshi's kind of like Yoshi and Ice Climber is kind of like the cutoff point here. Yoshi's that character that anyone can pick up and get into the game and start doing kind of whatever, kind of like Mario. You also have other characters like that too. If you're talking sword characters, you have, I guess you could say like Lucina, maybe Ike. There's a lot of different kind of sword characters, but it's Yoshi. He's just one of those get up, get going, kind of get started kind of characters too, and Kirby a little bit too for floaty characters. Yeah, he's also just an extremely solid character, but he can, if you look up matchup and things too, he can get walled out. That's just one thing. So he's very lucky to have that second jump that has armor, because he has to get in on people. He can't wall people out all the time with eggs. And it's not that he can't kill, it's just his strange matchups. So he can have some very heavily divided matchups. So it's because of things like this, he can end up going, from being an amazing situation where he's up 2 stocks, even then he can just lose because the opponent can just, we're talking top level, they can just adapt to get that winning position and just hold it. And Yoshi's gonna have trouble getting in. If it's that matchup chart kind of deal. And at that point, it's not always about player skill, it's the matchup too. So and does Yoshi need buffs? I'm not entirely sure if it's necessary. Maybe there's some Yoshi experts or top players who might be able to say what kind of buffs we need, but I don't really think so. I kind of consider like this tiering down if characters need buffs or adjustments. And kind of all these do, even Ice Climbers maybe need some help with AI and stuff, but Yoshi and these other characters, maybe not. I don't think Yoshi needs a buff. About fixes though, maybe there's some like glitches or fixes or something, maybe. I'm not a top player with Yoshi or expert, but maybe. Any suggestion or inputs, that'd be great, but it probably is something. Some glitch or something with Yoshi, or like with some stage or something, but I don't know exactly for sure. Maybe there's something they could do to make him on par or on level with a bunch of these other characters, especially going against some of these other characters up here in these spaces, which we'll get to, where they're just the difference in finding these characters is so tough. I'll go into that when I get there. Like for instance, this is a rough matchup here for Yoshi just because it's like literally fighting a wall of projectiles, and like the character also has a sword. So it's not only going to build damage, but he's also going to be able to build damage comfortably and then finish off Yoshi. So it's just a matchup where Yoshi has to play aggressive and is have a hard time playing aggressive. And his only helps can be like his second jump and maybe his egg to help with some things. Just as a couple examples. There's probably other things top Yoshis know of too, but it's really, really going to be tough. They both have good frame data, so it's going to be really tough. Which again, Youngling, he's always been a contender for running for, especially after the buffs he's gotten through the game, to just straight up high tier. All these characters are. The main thing that holds him back is he's not the most consistent with killing early. That's the main thing with Yoshi too. But again, none of these characters in here I think need nerfs. There's probably not really anything to touch with the character. Maybe there's some inconsistencies to adjust. For looking at like maybe Smash related gameplay, but I don't think there's any buffs or anything, and that would probably help out Toon Link as well, but also Young Link in general too. But Toon Link probably needs, again, he needs more consistencies. But going to Young Link, that's probably the only thing he probably needs. Resident Luba. What comes to mind with Resident Luma is like the Buzz and a couple other Japanese players and terrible names, forget the player's name, but you know, if you're on the tournament scene, you know who I'm talking about, and I do great stuff with them, and I think they just need maybe a little bit of AI treatment with Ice Climbers here, where the Luma can be a little more consistent. But other than that, like, I really don't think Rosalina needs buffs. Because Rosalina can do high damage, can kill, is decently fast. I just think if the Luma got the AI kind of buffs, Rosalina would be able to cover a lot more of her landing options and things a lot better. And also just be better in general with the help of Luma. And that in itself is enough of a buff, I think. But that's also talk in regards to putting her placement here, is because, you know, what she needs versus what some of these other characters have and are capable of. And that brings me to Wifi Trainer. And we're also talking about results too. Wifi Trainer is kind of one of those characters that's tied in results and everything, but also matchup and stuff. Wifi Trainer is one of those characters that's not entirely reliant on her projectiles, but they do help. But she also gets the extreme boost from her down special. So once she gets that, she kind of gets like a limit break. So her speed, strength, and agility is kind of increased. I'm not sure if it's 2 times or 1.5 times or something. I think it's 2 times. And it affects all of her abilities, not just her moves, but her stats. That's why I mentioned agility, damage output as well, and movement speed, everything. So it is kind of like a limit break, like with what Cloud gets, or Sephiroth with his one-winged angel. So yeah, that's the main thing that really helps her. And she can break shields a little easier with that too. And she has very strange techniques if you don't get to studying this character. She'll have ways to not just launch you off screen really easy and bury you and things, but she'll spike you in the ways, or hit you with a meteor smash in ways you wouldn't expect if you don't get to know this character. What you could spend about like 30 minutes to an hour in training mode against this character. You can learn pretty much everything, or watch some YouTube videos and they'll show you everything, but that's what's going to help with this character a lot. That puts him in the lower part of high tier, kind of with this and Luigi. We're going to move on to here in a second, but yeah, this character is very solid. They have pretty decent recovery to it that can also uh, defend Wifi Trainer and be an attack too. It's also very good, and that alone makes her technically a little better than Wifi Trainer, but again, it's results. I mean, Wifi Trainer a little better than Rosaline Luma. So yeah, so that's kind of what helps. And again, Rosaline Luma is above these two because projectiles shouldn't work against Rosaline Luma just because of her. I wanted to call it the black hole, but it's actually called the gravity something. Which you just pull in the projectiles to use them against Link. So that is a huge matchup advantage against like characters who use projectiles. Again, we have to talk results to online and other things that some things that might translate. And Yoshi also could suffer because Rosa and Luma might. I usually have a higher chance of walling out. Yoshi. So that's not. And especially if Yoshi can get walled out by a young Link, and it's just we're looking at results and matchup and things. So whoops, we're gonna go up the line here to or the ladder, I guess, the stairs, however you want to look at it. Up the hill to Luigi. I think what really helped Luigi in this game too, to be a little more consistent, and people don't talk about it, like. The only thing that would make Luigi go straight up to maybe here, maybe even replace Greninja to here, and that's based on consistency. And Hero right, I think, could be if he was a little more consistent too. Like, I'm not going to talk about Hero just yet, just because there's other things to talk about. But if Luigi's down B could also be used as an extra recovery to get extra lift. That's how good Luigi is, because his combo game is so good. And it can potentially kill at 0% on a lot of the cast. So and also his grab has been buffed in the sense that it has more range. And it's a projectile, so it's because it's a tether grab. Now, it can be reflected and things like that because it's a physical tether, because it's a nozzle from his vacuum cleaner. But still, I think it's very good. Now I would put him up here, like I said, if his down B actually recovered upwards a little bit and was useful for that, but it's not. So again, we have to leave him. But because he has so many. Because the kind of character he is in design thing, I call them luck factors. For his side B, like you have 1 in 9 chance or 8 chance getting a fully charged Greninja missile just by tapping it, like smashing it instead of having to charge it. And his up B is actually just really good in general, but you also can just be more consistent with combos and stuff. But the Luigi missile is the thing why I call it that. And then he just does goofy things to kind of act like a joke character, but he's actually really dangerous. It's just funny. He's he's very cartoony. But he's really consistent. If you have to go on results and on that, he might actually, but it's because of matchup, and unfortunately because people have to understand that he can just get walled out so easily. And it's hard to get grabs on him, for him to get in close enough to get grabs sometimes, even though he has the added range. And I haven't really seen other Luigis or Luigi players in general adapt to where they can kill without grabs. or build enough damage to stay without grabs. Characters that are able to get away, have speed, or just outplay him in general. They just take over the game. So what I see here is you see characters like Diddy Kong get up here and outmatch him. Even Donkey Kong, because Donkey Kong can just... it's not just about armoring through him, but they can wall him out a little with his tilts and things. Because Luigi's not a strong aerial character either. He's very, very floaty and slow in the air. It's just very unfortunate. And that's just Luigi. That's just how he is. And Diddy Kong and Donkey Kong have enough things to deal with, like Luigi's fireballs. It's there. So that's just unfortunately how it is. Just if we were talking about why these two are up on him, and even Corrin and Captain Falcon, and of course Captain Falcon was just a speed factor in general, and he has armor on certain things. So, that's what we're looking at here. But yeah, let's go into Diddy Kong. Which, if we're going to talk about Diddy Kong, we would have to look at, just ignore the fact of the infinite, because the infinite's extremely situational, but yes, that is there, but the fact he has Banana, the fact he has another projectile which could possibly help in some situations like the Peanut, he has the rocket barrels, he has monkey flip, he has consistent combos that can help for a lot of his matchups. The fact he can play a strong neutral to stay long enough in the game to do what he needs to do to kill, and the fact he can kill early enough or just enough at around 100% to be competitive. He is, he does what he needs to do, and he does what the player needs him to do. So he is a good example of a character that may not need to be touched, but maybe may need, some adjustments to make sure he's on par with the rest of the cast up here. Right, so maybe he and Donkey Kong are like the middle ground here. Corrin. Again, Corrin's not supposed to be, I think, like a speedy kind of fighter, but yeah, I'm going to go into Donkey Kong first. Donkey Kong, I'm going to see them being untouched, unless there's like maybe certain adjustments again that need to be made universally for characters, like I'm trying to say, like even around Diddy Kong. Like maybe there's certain movement options supposed to be universally touched for all the characters or something, but I don't see Donkey Kong needing any buffs, and I see him being placed here just because of all the discoveries being made, and people just getting better with their character in general. They're going to translate well from online to offline. Results as well from online that should be fine in certain situations to translate to offline. The legal stages, legal tournaments, I guess we could say. I mean, yes, he's a big target, but he's also proven that even though he's a big target, he can play safe, he can combo, and he can kill. And most importantly, he can be consistent, so that's what you need in like a video game character that's supposed to be a fighting game, even like Smash Brothers. And Diddy Kong and Donkey Kong can do that. And there's, right here in the middle of the high part of the game, because you need that in a competitive character at the very least. And that means these guys can win tournaments, and any level of tournament. You just put in the work and you can do it. That's what these guys are. think it's important to take note on. Corrin, the dragon lady. Yeah, I said that. Yeah, she or he. There's a he version you can choose, but you don't do that. You pick the she. Corrin is I can see them getting maybe. I don't really see them needing too many buffs, but I can see them. Maybe there's some things with frame data or something, but again, it's about consistency, building damage, and getting kill. And the fact is, Corrin can kill now. Corrin can build damage, and Corrin can play consistently, but um, maybe there'll be something with the frame data or something. Like it's at a point when you get to this portion of the game where there's very little things to change. It just comes down to play style and making sure you match the character and things. At this point in the tier list, or maybe there is something to change or update because it's a minute thing, like very minor things to be updated or changed. Like Captain Falcon, they helped fix his upbeat, which helped him a lot. I know, like Fatality mentions his, like turnaround when they fix that. When he does a dash and turn around, it's like delayed because of the animation. And I have a feeling they don't change that because that's intentional. But maybe they should provide something alternative, perhaps. Because the whole thing, he's not supposed to be faster than Sonic. And I think that's intentionally why they did that. But something maybe behind certain attacks that has more power or something, or he gets rewarded for certain combos. Essentially, like certain attacks will kill. I'm not saying he's gonna be like a Ryu or Ken character, but I'm saying like maybe certain attacks like Falcon Punch should be rewarded a little more, or the knee. Um, and maybe I'm just giving a couple examples there. Because these top players put in all this work, and I think if they get rewarded a little more with that, I think that'd be worth it. Or if they at least let us know what's intentional or not. Something, I think that'd be helpful, but for the sake of balancing versus and what's for design, things like that. I think that'd be kind of helpful. At least get some input or something. But Captain Falcon's really good. He's really well balanced in things, and he just has matchups that he's gonna suffer against. He is a character that can be walled out. He is a character that can struggle against a player that, or not a player, a character that has better frame data, and which is true in most fighters, and a character that's faster. And the only character in the game that's supposed to be faster is Sonic. Oh, and I moved this. My bad. The only other character that has is there a character that has better frame data than him? Let me see. I mean, maybe Pikachu. Well, actually, it's supposed to be a few. Pikachu, Mithra, maybe Joker? I think maybe some of the... Maybe Ryu and Terry. ZSS. Anyways, yeah. The point being, Captain Falcon, he's still extremely good, capable of winning tournaments. He does win tournaments. He wins very high level tournaments, even international level ones, or used to. Um, there hasn't been the kind of level tournaments in a long time, but he still does very good. And the stuff he does online can translate to offline. There's some things that can, for certain. Again, I placed him behind Ike and then ahead of Corrin because although Corrin can maybe potentially wall out Captain Falcon is a lot more consistent and speedier than Corrin. So Corrin, it's just matchup wise not going to do as good against Captain Falcon as you would think. Because Captain Falcon's just able to get in a lot easier on Corrin. As long as the Captain Falcon looks out for counters. But Captain Falcon is always going to look out for things like that. I'm assuming as the player that they're knowledgeable and we're talking top level. And also, speaking of talking about this, Captain Falcon just might struggle against Ike in general just because that up B is not only a burst option that just you can break out of things, but also can kill. They've buffed Ike so much. Ike's jab can be a potential problem for Captain Falcon. I mean, this one's kind of even is my point here. But also, Ike outranges Captain Falcon. Is the main thing. So it's actually just a really close matchup, if not even. It depends on how these players play each other. But yeah, that's the thing. I would argue it's an even matchup. But if you're looking at results, I think Ike's ahead of Captain Falcon. I could be wrong. But this is, it's widespread opinion tier list. But yeah, that's where I place these characters. And that's just, if you're looking combination of offline, online, and matchup and thing, it just is ahead of these two. Especially with how we just have top NES player representatives in general, how hard they work and what they do, including like Best NES, and other top players where they make it look like he's from Melee, just the movement and things, or other fast-paced games. Yeah, and any buffs. Again, I don't think so. I think they just maybe some possible game adjustments or something, depending on DLC and stuff, like they do. But I don't see anything really needed beyond that other than what I've mentioned. Inkling. It's at least talk about. Let me check something here. Yeah, I've got. All right. Well, I'll be able to cover all of high tier at least here. All right. So Inkling. Just so we all understand, the reason I put Inkling up here and not. Inkling is a classic example of a high tier character, I think, is why I put Inkling up here. And on the lower end as well, because although I could have put Ness here, and even technically above Inkling because of how things have been going with online, again, I said I'm keeping this more offline too. Although if top players, when things go offline again, with Nest start doing good, like they're doing, online to offline, I could see Nets go here. And Inklings, if they're just not able to pull their weight, I could see Inkling drop to right here. And I'll give an explanation for things here, both of the other characters as well. But yeah, Inkling is just a normal example for a high tier because of just how consistent they are. For one example, people give consistency is the throw into the up airs, which is the up throw, I believe. But it's very inconsistent online, but more consistent offline. It's just an example of the difference between online and offline that people use. But also, Inkling's very consistent in building damage fast, and then you can kill people. What's highly unfortunate about Inkling, though, is as the game has evolved and with updates and patches, not only do people know the matchup better, but Inkling has actually gotten bad matchups, like actually genuine bad matchups, in the form of uh, characters that can outrange Inkling, and also I want to say outspeed, but outpace is probably better. And yeah, I think that's the best way to put it is outspace and out. Um, yeah, just outspace Inkling, and I think even other times. Yeah, outspace is the best way to put it because I don't think there's even you have to really consider out damaging Inkling a lot of times because you're always going to be able to build damage at some point. You just have to. It's a matter of surviving, and what helps with a lot of that is being able to outspace Inkling. Which Inkling, even though Inkling can build damage very quickly, if they can't reach you or can't really get hits on you, they're gonna have trouble. And I found a lot of times Inkling should almost never hit you with the roller. A good Inkling player, even a top level, will almost never be able to do that unless somehow they combo into it. I don't really see very many examples of top Inkling players anymore comboing into a roller. It's situational. Um, Especially when they're going against bad matchups, like something like a character that has like not just a counter, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about they use heavy projectile use, like a Falco, Samus, Banjo, Hero, uh, Mega Man, Link. Even going against someone like Luigi, Luigi will just grab him. When I say Link, I mean all the Links. They will really have a hard time against Ice Climbers offline. A hard poor Ice Climbers user will just combo him to death. It's just they can struggle against sword users sometimes, like a Shulk. Um, the fighting characters Ryu, um, Ken, and Terry can beat them. Wolf, these two, the new additions here, Mira and Pyra, or Mithra and Pyro, could probably beat them. Pokemon Trainer, Joker, Pikachu. It's just they have a hard time against um, a campy playstyle because um, when you play Splatoon, your your whole goal is to go normally over and paint turf and um, chase down and paint over enemies and make them go back to a squid and respawn or an octopus. And this game, it's not like that in competition. You can't just hunt down your enemy all the time. Sometimes you have to sit back, or you'll find often a lot of times, and you see, you notice as we go up the list, a lot of the characters become more and more campy, or potentially able to do both campy and aggressive play styles. Um, and just Inkling can't do that. Inkling can play campy, but she's better when she's aggressive. And that's where we're going to go into our next character, which is Bowser. So Inkling, what would I suggest for a buff? If there is going to be a buff, which if this happens, this is going to upset a lot of people who play against Inkling, because this is the same kind of buff they could do for a lot of other characters across the board, which they probably should if they're going to do that to Inkling. Increase shield damage. Which again, if they do that, it's just going to make it more frustrating for people in a lot of different ways. But again, if it's the only thing I could possibly think of for a buff, because of the fact of how much damage she does. And again, it always comes down to damage and stuff. And I have a lot of arguments I can make for my character too, which I'm doing matchup chart for that. My character is Ridley, so yeah, Bowser. Oh, Bowser. Yeah, so the thing about Bowser, where he kind of has over Inkling, is Bowser needs to be in someone's face, but he can also somewhat camp a little too, just by not just being a threat, but he has the fire breath. He kind of, in a way, which is kind of hilarious, similar to Godzilla, the fact that he's always a looming threat. You have to somewhat approach him too, otherwise he can just at a moment's notice go up to you and just cause trouble. It's hilarious. It's kind of like literally when people do the jokes with like Godzilla and Donkey Kong, Godzilla versus King Kong, or King K. Rool and King Kong. Like I think it matches more with Godzilla and Bowser because those two right now, that's kind of what it's like. They're the Godzilla and King Kong of the game. It's hilarious. They're like the threats. No one will admit is like the greater threats of close quarters. Because they can, in a split second, change the whole course of a match. Um, Even that being said, they're not clearly the best character in the game, but they're still very good. They should make you really consider what's going on. I'm really not sure if Bowser needs any buffs or anything. Again, I think I'm not an expert with Bowser, but I would say if there's anything he may need, it would be. I'm not even sure if like saying, yeah, I'm not sure what he would need. Like maybe certain things with like consistency, but again, I I wouldn't know. I would rather hear from Leon or another top Bowser player or something to see what they would think. But even when I play him sometimes for fun, like he still feels like he's Bowser's consistent. He's like a monster with purpose. He feels again like kind of like Godzilla. He's trying to accomplish something, and he's able to. That's what he feels like. So I just want to, he's Bowser. He feels like Bowser. That's the point. I think that's important to keep in mind. So I'm not sure 100% what the adjustments could be if there's any needed. So maybe he'll be untouched. I could clearly see a bunch of characters in the next update, from like Yoshi and this list up being untouched, and everything Ice Climbers down being I would say patched, updated, with buffs. I'm hoping. Maybe Young Link would get and Link would get some kind of, because there's usually when they do updates like the links are tied to each other. Isabel Villager, but I'm just trying to point out what's to be considered. Pichu got a lot of buffs this last patch, which Pichu did need. Pichu became unplayable basically after the set of nerfs Pichu had gotten. And And I have to say, Pichu and Picchu are frustrating to play against when you're playing against good players. Um, and Pichu is the character where if you're going to play them, you have to play aggressive. You can't really sit back and camp. Um, the only reason you would sit back and hit another player with a couple or a few Thunder Jolts is maybe get them to a certain percent for a combo. That's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head. But the way Pichu works, you can pretty much combo just about any character at basically any low percent, I would think. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's about accurate. Pretty sure Void and some other players would know. And they could maybe say something, and I would like it if they'd pitch in and say something, but I think that's true for the most part. Yeah, Pichu, definitely more consistent now. He's got some good help. I don't know if they'll receive any more buffs or anything. I think maybe they'll be about the same. Maybe there'll be some adjustments with frame data or something. Like maybe in the next update they found with what's going on right now, there's some bugs and stuff they want to fix that, and that's always good to have fixes. But as far as Rob versus Pichu, everything up going up the list, I think Rob's just more consistent of a character. And I don't think he needs any more buffs. I don't know if he. I don't think I discourage nerfing in a game because the idea is you can just bring other characters up instead of bringing characters down. That's my idea. And Rob is yes, he's very consistent. He mixes his projectile use um, with aggression. He can camp, but he can also combo. He's a very versatile character, but it can struggle against matchups where players can utilize combo characters or characters that can uh, utilize his projectiles against him or outspace him. And usually when characters outspace him, it's not like projectile characters. It's characters that are, when I say not projectile characters, I don't mean characters like that are typically like King K. Rool or Bowser Jr., King Diddy, Piranha Plant, or and it's mostly because um, the strategies aren't. When I say progressive enough, I mean they don't move forward enough with their strategies to um, pin down Rob. Whereas you would have characters like Falco or Banjo or the Samuses here, Dark Samus and Samus. Or you could even like have the, I think they're called the Shotos or Mega Man, where you mix up the projectile use against Rob. Even Link too. Some of the Links might have some capability to just um, force Rob to feel some pressure or have pressure, so he has to go all out, and Rob is just not going to feel comfortable even putting pressure on you and forcing you to the ledge, or being able to combo you as well. You're trying to get yourself going with your stuff, so um, that's the thing that matters as far as the difference with spacing as far as projectile characters. But there's obviously other characters that can do spacing with other ways as well. If you're talking whether it be these sword characters here, or you have something like Mr. Game Watch who uses various other kind of techniques, or Wario, or if you have something like Pac-Man uses other things like throwable item techniques, or like I said, the combo characters. You have like Peach. You have mixed things with Pokemon Trainer and Ether and Pyra. Pikachu, Pichu can do stuff. Wolf. It just I put Rob ahead of Pichu because Rob obviously has more results. And I say obviously because the representation for Pichu for a while had dropped. And I would be surprised if they're. I mean, if people have results you're able to tell me, I mean, I would please do, because I hadn't really checked the comparison of Rob results versus Pichu, and I would be truly surprised if, like, the past, like, we're talking, like, what, 2018 and 21, that, like, you know, it's when the game came out, right? So if we're talking, like, 2020, 2021, this past year, that's when we've been basically doing online, right? So if we're talking, like, 2019, there's still some offline, right? And I'm assuming there's a bunch of Pichus then, right? But they started declining in 2020. So I'm just saying, I would be surprised if, like, for a whole year when the Pichus were declining and everything, and not going to tournaments. I'm just saying I would be surprised, or if they still were, then that's what I'm saying. I would like to know, but I'm just saying I would not be surprised if there's a huge difference in results. Is my point, for especially for offline, is my point. So, I mean, online is to be a big difference too, but it's another point I'm trying to make. But that's the thing. We're talking offline, online differences here too, and what translates. And usually, some things translate pretty well between the two. But yeah, um, Rob, the difference here is results. As far as these two fighting each other offline, they can do pretty good against each other. Um, but that's the main thing here. And as far as Link goes, the thing with Adult Link here and Rob, it's realistically pretty even, but Link just he has an actual more doable infinite than Diddy Kong here, and he can utilize it against Rob. I mean, that's my main argument here. And Adult Link with some representation in other parts of the world, including Japan, like T, I believe, right? He, they if you're able to do that kind of stuff, or just the utilization of the bomb, it doesn't have to be infinite in general. He can out space Rob, is my point. In my opinion, he has a good matchup against Rob, in my opinion. Link does. So this is matchup. This is partially results. This is um, online offline results. I don't know. This is just how I feel about it. It's my opinion. Realistically, it's probably more even, if not Rob being up here. But this is just my opinion. Um, and do I feel these characters need any adjustments or buffs or anything? It's really hard to say. Rob, maybe not. Maybe I have a feeling like if Nintendo was to do an update or patch, they probably wouldn't touch these two. But should they? I could see depends on, and if they do want to do with the character coming out. It would depend. I think if I see like what DLC is being released in the preview, I could have a better idea. But also any top players want to give input, like I mentioned, T, or I think Wadi plays Rob too, right? Or I know Kira Flax, um, or Kira. I know he plays or has a pretty good idea about Rob and Pit and Dark Pit. Maybe he could give some input too. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of top players out there. But or just in general, if anyone. Yeah, but I think it comes down to like a frame data kind of thing. Because they can both kill. They're both pretty consistent. They do what they're supposed to do as far as their design. Their designs are good too. So I think it would be very minor adjustments. I don't see anything like seriously needed as for buffs. I don't again think they need to be nerfed. It's again see them being untouched. Um, Mega Man. I mean, it's Mega Man. He can play aggressive. He can play spacey. He can play passive aggressive. He can kill. He can play consistent. You know, he can choose to make a match last or end it very quickly, depending on what's going on. He can have super polarizing matchups, or he can have, or he has matchups that are just really in his favor. He's a exciting character a lot of times, or he can just not be an exciting character. That's a very interesting dude. Let's see here. Yeah, he has results. Yeah, about here is fine, because does he have better results than Wario? No. Does he have a good matchup against Wario? I mean, yeah, I would say about 55-45, because he can wall him out a little bit. Um, that's my opinion. He can also wall out Link pretty good, or stand a really good chance against Link. If it's not even, like 50-50. Again, talking results and stuff too, and what translates between online and offline, all that stuff. Does Mega Man need any buffs, or truly don't know, like, if there's any Mega Man players up there or anything, but I don't think he needs any nerfs either. I could see him being untouched. Or maybe there might be some adjustments again, universally characters, other things, depending on the next character comes out, all that. So we'll see. A tier. Wario A tier. And again, when I say next character, this is patch 11.0.1. Part 3 is this video. So if everyone's not understanding that who's watching this right now, I apologize. But yeah, that's what this video is. Wario. Wario is really good, really consistent. He did have I believe 2 nerfs against him, or maybe one was more of an adjustment. I believe he had 2 major changes to him that everyone's having to adjust to, including like Gluttony and some other top players. But essentially, his waft got an adjustment. I think it was his up tilt that got a nerf. I think his up tilt, what the nerf was, it got like they basically made it where you had to adjust the timing on it essentially. With the waft is what they did, because the up tilt got slower startup frames or something like that, and the waft also, I think the full power waft got, what was it, slower startup frames too, but it also has like, I think if I understood correctly, or I heard this information correctly, it also got more armor on startup or something, or longer lasting armor on its startup or something. I don't remember exactly what that was or how that was explained, but I guess it can be used a little more like Smash 4, like when the full powered waft was used on the bike on the ledge, you can actually ledge guard with it now too, though. So I mean, like, there's negatives and positives with Wario. But I feel mostly because he's going to be used differently, he's going to still be consistent, just in different ways. So I would put him, because I'm going to see a period where I think we would all see this too, where Gluttony and a bunch of the other Wario players are going to have to learn to use him a different way, besides the way they've been using him. So that's why I put him behind here, because the people who already play these people don't have to adapt and change these characters, way they play them, their play styles. But Wario, they have to actually change for a little bit. So we'll see these uh, Wario players go into like a hyperbolic time chamber with Wario for a little bit, and then what's gonna happen is after they master go through the new Wario changes, we'll obviously see Wario go up. I think to around this level at least, because they're going to learn all the proper ways to do everything, the combos, the best way to edge guard, and everything. I think that's what we're going to see. But for right now, this is, I think, what we're looking at realistically. And does Wario need any nerfs or adjustments right now? I really don't know. I'm not a top Wario player. I don't main Wario. But yeah, Wario is still extremely good. Now let's see here. Get feedback from someone like Gluttony or anyone other top player who's Wario. Be able to inform us of things because maybe they found things while they're doing training and stuff. What they think, because that would be helpful too. But again, I think like after they finish all their training and stuff, and if we're still on 11.0.1, or whatever the case is, I could see him going up here with like, just based on what I talked about, but just those two changes, the good and the bad, just being able to adapt. But again, like I could be wrong in a good way. Like maybe he's able to do more now. Like maybe Wario's able to go back up to like a top tier position, like up here somewhere, and go above Greninja. Move Greninja down. I mean, that's my case I'm trying to make here, but let me go ahead and talk about Roy and Chrom. I have reasons why I placed them here. Roy, Chrom. So my opinion and differences here between Roy and Chrom are very simple because they're echo fighters of each other. Or rather, Roy is the main fighter and Chrom's the echo. My opinion, and this is how people pick it too, I've noticed in top player, is for matchup specific things. So Chrom is used as the heavy punishing character for people who use characters that have poor ledge recovery or poor options for getting back to ledge. Because as far as neutral and as far as how neutral is controlled by Roy and Chrom, it's about the same. And they both have armor on their up B as far as the burst option goes. The only thing you might be able to argue is Roy has a fire effect and Chrom has like a wind effect, I guess. Kind of like how Robin's up B or multi-hitting jab is, but that's really not the most important features or best things about the two characters. When you're talking competition, I guess. I'll get to that in a second on their strengths. The most important thing is they're consistent. They can build damage quickly and they can kill. And they both have ways to kill early, which is the important thing. And they can defend themselves, which is why they're up here. They're very consistent. Again, Chrom, his strength is killing people off the ledge. That's his thing. Roy's strength is killing people in the neutral. He can kill people with his up B in the neutral a little easier than Chrom can. And Roy can also kill people off ledge too, but Chrom's thing is a little more of that. I would also argue Roy's side B is better than Chrom's, which is why Roy is considered to be better than Chrom. Um, if you're arguing things like shield damage and stuff, I think it's the same for both. And I don't think Roy's fire damage effect does extra damage than Chrom's or anything like, or vice versa. It's just, I think, purely aesthetic. Like, it's a visual effect, but yeah, there's little differences, like things like that. Um, and I think as far as critical hit points, like, they're both the same. If I'm wrong and Chrom's the one where it's like the full blade and Roy's is like the hilt, then technically you should pick Chrom because it's the full blade. There would be no reason to pick Roy, but people say it's a side B, but I'm like, I would argue that if it's his is the full blade, then the only reason not to pick Chrom is his up B can somewhat be lacking. But if you control neutral the whole game and you're a good player, then there's no reason to pick Roy. Plus, his up B is so good it can kill in the middle of the stage if you get people high enough percent. So I don't understand why people wouldn't do that. Which also brings us to our next fighter, which again I don't think these characters need buffs or nerfs. They're fine. But again, our next fighter, Lucina, she, I'm gonna say right now, doesn't need any buffs or nerfs. I don't think really needs any adjustments, but very consistent, very strong, very good. Can kill. Just unfortunately, it's just how it is with certain characters when you're very vanilla. The only thing she doesn't have, which Marth has, just Marth again, like I've mentioned before, just very broken. As a character, she needs fixing. She doesn't have a critical hit, status or function like Marth, but she's still very good, very consistent, and can kill. Not really sure what you would do to really actually like buff Lucina, because she has a kill throw technically at certain percents. It's an up throw, I believe. So again, I mean, kind of like Marth. She's an Echo Fire Marth, so not sure. Maybe there's top players you might want to pitch in and say something, and that'd be fine. I know there's one in Japan. I can't remember the name right now. Like I said, I'm terrible with names, but I'd be perfectly fine if they pitch in and say, let me know. Or anyone who Lucina. Yeah, I'm not. I can see them being untouched too. Banjo. So there's actually a lot of things that Banjo does. I've been practicing Banjo and looking at it and possibly picking up not just because I enjoy the character and I'm a fan of Banjo, but Banjo's just actually really good and can potentially kill early, and can also be very consistent, and also, just like I mentioned, can also just kill. Banjo's a kill throw. He can kill with smash attacks, kill with special moves, and create bizarre, uncomfortable situations for your opponent. Is a really fun, goofy character. He doesn't have to play campy, but he can if he needs to. In other words, he can play for the playstyle of adaptation, which is good. He can combo, which is good too. Banjo, I think, is a very strong character, and it just needs a lot of work put into him. Are there characters in the game that are better than Banjo? Yes. Does Banjo maybe need buff or something. I don't know. I still don't know, and I'm practicing and looking at the character and stuff. Maybe there's some minor inconsistencies I've noticed where like um certain moves don't connect when they probably should. Of course, I really am considering it's the possibility of timing with things. Um, because they do connect in other situations that are extremely similar, if not the same. So I am trying to be very fair and realistic here and unbiased. So again, I really can't say for sure. Um, Banjo is just actually a lot better than most people give him credit for. If you look at him for what he is and what he's capable for, and not just a campy, spammy uh, Yahoo, I guess. Um, Although, yes, he can play that way, and that is one play style. He can be aggressive. He can play passive. He can play all the play styles. He can play combo. He's just, again, it's matchup dependent. And I think he's one of those characters that can play like Mario. And he does have some bad matchups. But again, he can be one of those characters that, like, it's like Mario, that he can do well in any matchup. And he has no real hard losing matchup, which is something top players don't bring up enough. The difference between 55-45 and 80-20. You know, um, like it all really matters. Or even a 60-40 is technically like, yeah, it's losing, but it's not super hard losing. Like, people could still win that if they try hard enough. But it's also still going to be tough, but you can still win it. Um, yeah, but I don't think Banjo really has any matchups that are 80-20. But he's pretty good. It's because the fact that he can kill just about any character at 100%, 120% on a legal stage. And I say on a legal stage because there's obviously going to be stages, if you're going to play someone online, where they're going to be really big stage or Final Destination version of a huge stage, or a small, or a Battlefield version, I mean, of like a Great Cave Offensive or just some really big stage, and they're going to be able to DI and smash DI or whatever, and they're going to be able to live to like 180%, because it's a big stage, and there'll be a heavyweight like Bowser or something, or there'll be Snake or something. They're living to like 170%. You know, talking realistically here, because that's just what it is. And the funny thing is, you're a heavyweight too, but that's what Banjo is. He's on the heavyweight scale. I think he's supposed to be as heavy as Snake, actually, which is hilarious. But you'll have them living longer than you, because just actually will be living about the same. But still, it's because they're doing the best AI possible in those situations, in those stages, because they practice on the stuff. They're online players. They're called those Wi-Fi warriors, and that's what they do. Yeah. Uh, that's why when I say some things translate to offline from online, it's literally just some things. Um, yeah, I don't. Again, on Banjo, I don't think he's probably going to be touched. There's very little to upgrade or downgrade, or there's no need to downgrade anything either. There's just very little. He's Banjo, and then there's Kazooie too. Um, Falco. I know Smash players do this. I've seen it. Um, I've dealt with it. I've been part of the team for a while, I know the fact that there's like Larry. I'm not trying to call you out or anything, but I know you do this. I know you do it kind of as a joke too. But Falco is actually really good. Like maybe he's not as good like status as like Wolf and Fox, but he is really good. Um, yeah, he's like the high jumper, like he's the version of like. So the difference between Fox and Wolf, if I could explain it, and Falco, like Fox is the one that moves really fast on the ground, uh, puts you in a really uncomfortable position by popping you up in the air, and then is able to build damage off of that somehow, whether he jumps up, hits you again, or uh, makes you um, choose a bad option or throws you up in the air, you know, in the same way or something. He just makes you look like a fool. That's Fox. Wolf, he's not super speedy, but he picks options that are strong and that are, I'm gonna say nasty, because it's not that they're just terrifying, but they look savage. They look like something a like a pirate would do, or something savage like a, you know, like a beastly kind of creature would do. And yet, you know, you could see he's not. He has, you know, some sophistication or something with him. Like he has some kind of manners. You know, it's funny. You know, he's being a bounty hunter. You know, he's Star Wolf. You can see that, and it comes out in his game style too, his play style. I guess I should say his fighting style. It's funny. You can see that. I think it's great to notice that. And he can play super aggressive, or he can be sleazy and sit back too. And they can every single one of them can do it. It's just when Fox does it, he's hyperactive. He's super fast, and you see that. Falco, um, his thing is he's, you know, literally when everyone looks at his games, I prefer the air. And so what he does, everything he does, he puts his opponents in a position to where he can toss them up in the air and go to town on them because his comfort zone is in the air. So he puts you in his advantage state in the air. So he can combo you. He can uh, get a slam dunk, I guess, if you want to put it like Michael Jordan, Air Jordan, you know, whatever. He's a dude that get the job done. And that's why even his side B has a meteor smash effect. And Fox, that's why his pops you up. And the reason Wolf's is savage with the claw strike and strikes down. And can even kill mid stage is because he's just savage. Um, it just design wise, it makes sense, and it gameplay wise it makes sense, and competitively it all makes sense. Just when they designed Falco, Wolf, and Fox, they put such great detail into the characters. Um, yeah, Wolf, um, Fox, and Falco have never been anything lower than high tier. To say otherwise is just insulting a blasphemy to their design and character. Um, or you're just trying not to get them nerfed or something. But yeah, again, I don't think any characters should truly be nerfed. It's you should just be buffing other characters. Um, yeah, Falco's good. I don't know if he needs any more buffs at this point. I don't think so. I think just other characters should be buffed, or maybe just not even touched. Like you pointed out, because I'm not sure what they could really truly buff, or maybe even fix or adjust certain things. I'm not seeing anything that's yeah, I'm really not seeing anything that really needs to be touched or adjusted or anything. So I'm gonna move on to Samus and Dark Samus, which there's a few reasons I have them next to each other. First off, they're close enough to being the same character in this game. Even though there's a lot of reasons why that's not true. Second, results wise, they're close enough. Like they're hand in hand, treated as the same. In character matchup wise, I would argue Dark Samus has better character matchups than Samus, and there are specifics behind that. And as far as online translating to offline and vice versa, it's there's very little difference. Even though, yeah, online's projectile characters do better. There's just very little difference in how much of an improvement it is. And when I say very little difference, because I know this from experience, it's like, going from practicing online, even against like Wi-Fi warriors. If you fight against a Wi-Fi warrior online to someone who's like, let's say, I don't know, a projectile user, let's just say like they're Samus, Mega Man, whatever, they're going to be perfectly fine. Excuse me, perfectly fine. Do whatever they do offline too, because the lag is, normal to them. So they're going to be used to, having a playstyle that they're not worried about, their own inputs or anything, or any kind of distractions or anything. And I've played against some of these people, and I'm telling you that if you think even like a delay of any kind is going to bother them, it doesn't. And then if they get into an environment where there's nothing like that and they feel more freedom, that's a great thing for them. So my point here is, if you have problems in an online environment against a Wi-Fi warrior, you're going to have the same problems against the person who's an online Wi-Fi warrior or offline as well, because they're going to use the same strategies, except they're going to be a lot better, a lot more improved, because they're not going to have the delay or lag to get in the way of their strategies. So in other words, the Wi-Fi warriors are kind of like the final boss before you get into that real tournament level. I've had jokes made about that for me too, but I'm just like, every tournament I've been to where I've played against people have their style of gameplay that works. You have the combo player who has the combo character, you have the person who likes to play campy with their projectile character, or you have the person who does like a combination. And then you have your top level players who do like everything. I've played with them quite a bit, and they're actually kind of cool and they're fun. I've also played against like in Smash 4, the people with the play like the fighter characters like Ryu, and that was fun. Those people are kind of fun because they like to just go out all out and do all kinds of things. That's fun. But older games where you have like people play Falco and Melee, or Fox, that's kind of fun too, even though it is frustrating just because they they'll go all in and do all kinds of different stuff, and it's always fun. But yeah, but in regards, my point here with Samus and Dark Samus, if you're truly gonna get frustrated and over projectiles and stuff, you're not gonna make it in competition, because in competition everyone's gonna use anything they can to win. That's just how it is, and there are some serious differences here with Dark Samus and Samus, not just the fact the phase on property on Dark Samus and Samus's fire property. Like they do actually, kind of like I mentioned with the Belmonts, are like that. Like if you were to fight a Pikmin user, would it be Alma or whoever? Dark Samus is like up smash and down tilt would actually kill the fire Pikmin. And the other Pikmin, like there's no way for Almar to fight those moves. Although the bombs, the top of my head, I can't remember for Dark Samus, because I just know Dark Samus and her weapon arsenal uses Phazon. It's supposed to be like a radiation. I'm not sure how they treat the properties for that in Ultimate here to make it different from fire. I just know they have it handled where it's not fire and it would kill a Pikmin. It's a mutagenic radiation too. It also is like a super powered fuel source, so it's very interesting how they do that in the game. Where Dark Samus is from, where this game series of which is from specifically as part of the Metroidverse. Yeah, and also what Dark Samus, in my opinion, is kind of better too, besides just certain matchups, combos and consistency. And that can allow Dark Samus to just get access to kills easier than Samus, in my opinion. Now there is a couple things, or actually there's one thing in particular I can think of the top of my head that makes Samus have an advantage over Dark Samus, and that is, for some reason, and I've noticed this too, and it's just visually seeing it. I'm not sure if this is true, but Samus, for some reason, as far as movement, seems to look like she runs faster. Of course, I think the movement speed is the same. But the other thing I've noticed too is, as far as jump height, I think Dark Samus, or heightened things for in general, is a little shorter than Samus, and that's because, except for the second jump, and that's because Dark Samus is for comboing. Like she just, Dark Samus just sits a little shorter, so you could run up to someone, dash attack, and then follow up with up air's a little easier, down throw into up smash like they showed in the demo, down throw into up tilt and up B, just for basic things a lot easier than Samus. It's just consistency. Samus, though, her one thing she has that's a big difference from Dark Samus, and I say a big difference because it doesn't matter, it kills earlier. Her, I guess they call it her full power charge shot in this game, which makes sense because it's a combination of her beams she'd gotten for the games. It does in 1v1s 35.6% damage or something, or 35% damage actually. And Dark Samus does, I think, 33.6% damage for some reason, which I think is funny. So it is a big difference, and that's because Dark Samus, her stun's a little longer, so you can actually utilize Dark Samus's for combos a little better. No matter what the charge, Dark Samus does for longer. So again, Dark Samus is better for combos. But if you need Samus for rock kill power, that's something you can do. That's the main thing. But yeah, as far as these two go for results and character matchups and everything, they're extremely versatile and they're scary. And they have kill throws with all the patches and everything, and so they're extremely terrifying to play against, not just online but offline too. So everyone
Needs to keep that in mind. And I don't think they need any buffs or anything. I'm not sure about adjustments. It depends on, like, said several times during this video, like a character coming out, what involves that character. I'm going to move on to Cloud and Sephiroth now. Cloud, he's been adjusted quite a few times. He's gotten buffs, nerfs, and more buffs, and so many other things. I feel Cloud is really, really good. And I feel Cloud, I don't think needs any real changes at this time. And if you want to include a lot of recent online things that's been happening, they could possibly translate to offline. And just progress of top players, I think Cloud is a contender for going up to top tier, and I think he's just very good, especially if you look at top players like Spargo, who've been making work and doing all the hard work and progress he's been doing. I think that's very important to note here, just what Cloud might be set up for here in the future. I don't really think Cloud needs any changes or adjustments either. Unless, there's a glitch or something someone found. But I'm hoping Nintendo's trying to, or Smash, the Smash development team in general, is trying to, working to take care of any glitches. But, that's something we're all hoping for. Sephiroth, my opinion with Sephiroth is, even trying to maybe looking to use him stuff is, and this is where I'm placing him based on this patch and stuff too, what I've seen. I technically should put him here, but he's too slow in my opinion. And we're talking before he gets One Winged Angel. When he gets One Winged Angel, he's fine. He works as a character, but he gets out-framed dated, and I mean not outranged unless he goes against a projectile character, but just outpaced in the sense of speed, and he just can't keep up with a lot of the cast. In that sense, he kind of does feel like a boss character. So he gets like he has some strange matchups. If I were to try and consider making a matchup chart where he would just, certain matchups where he just gets demolished. It's really kind of interesting. Yeah, so again, I'm not really able to say too much about this character other than, like, maybe he might need a safe move or two where he's able to just have a get off of me option or something. And I know some people can say, like, oh, what about neutral air? It doesn't work. Like, there's literally a bunch of characters like neutral air doesn't work against. It's like a get off me option. Especially if you're looking at projectile and sword characters. Like, it just doesn't work when they're in the middle of hitting you. There's nothing he has. And if people are going to say, like, oh, air dodge, like, then you don't play competitively if you're to say air dodge. I'm just going to say that right now, because air dodging all the time is not going to work against an offline environment, against a player who knows what they're doing. Yeah, he's just not going to do it.
I mean, realistically, like, if he didn't have the range he had or the counter, um, I would probably have to put him down here by not Mewtwo, above Marth. Yeah, probably right about Lucario. Just because if he didn't have the counter to help him or such a fast neutral air, I would probably have to put him there because just how slow he is as a character before One Winged Angel. Because it takes so long and there's no. Like, I guess maybe some people figured out how long it takes for One Winged Angel to come out or something, but still, like, it's that bad. And One Winged Angel doesn't help all the time as much as people would think. It's just not. Especially when you're going against players who have experience with characters that I'm going to talk about here soon that have, possible advantage over. Not just only maybe outpace Sephiroth, but potentially outspace him too. Like maybe these two potentially might, but again, like that's considering a Sephiroth can maybe be aggressive. Like I guess Nairo's being aggressive is what I found, but again, like at the top level, realistically, how effective is that going to be against how long is it going to last against certain other characters? And I appreciate we have someone like Nairo come back who's going to be able to hopefully bring new gameplay style, I'm hoping. So we're talking from a competitive viewpoint, so that's my thing. So let's see here. Maybe. Yeah. But does he, besides that, I mean, like, just because, like, and maybe there's some glitches that happen where, like, he's supposed to actually be doing something he's not, and it just needs to be fixed or something. I don't know. But yeah, there's just stuff needs to be taken care of. Let's see here. Canon. You know what? That was an accident. I didn't mean to, but Ryu does need. Here's the thing. Yeah, Ken can kill. Ken can be consistent. Ryu can be consistent. Ryu can build damage. Ryu cannot kill. And it's funny I say that because I've been playing Ryu, been practicing too, but Ken kills with his up B and like certain other moves. And Ryu is supposed to have a bunch of other kill options too, not just like up B and Shoryuken. Like Shoryuken's part of his combo, but Shoryuken's supposed to be a kill option for right. But I don't know why they made Shoryuken and Tatsumaki, a kill option that kills at like 150% for almost the entire cast, right? I don't understand. Like, and even when you combo with it, especially, right? Like, it doesn't make sense. When Terry can kill almost the entire cast at 100%, sometimes less. And I mean, heavy characters like 120% maybe. Like, it's less than Ryu and Ken. I mean, I just. Or, and that's with a various moves with Terry. I mean, my point here is with Ryu, he needs buffs in the sense of either knockback on moves. I mean, that's probably the best way they should do it.
because his moves deal damage, but I mean, as far as kill moves like Tatsumaki and Shoryuken, I'm talking about the true forms that are doing this, not the, just press up B and side B. I'm talking about the, actual command input ones, like the actual, fighter input ones. Where you do the, let's see, the forward, diagonal, forward down, I think is how you would say it, and then up, I think. I'm trying to remember what that is for sure, but I do it on a GameCube controller too, so it's like, it's also awkward, but still, when you do it, like, it does what, 24% or something? You have iframes and armor on startup, but the point is, like, it's supposed to be a kill option, but it doesn't kill. Like, even when it's part of a combo with stuff tuning does more damage, it still doesn't kill. Until the opponent is at like over 150%, or at least 150% if they're a lightweight. I don't understand. And that's because it's not just the person that's doing perfect DI and other things too, it's because, Ryu just, for whatever reason, he could, do everything he could to be strong, and he just is not going to kill as early as Ken. And it's like they made Ryu a joke character. I don't understand. They need to buff him. It's an insult, I think. That's why I kind of like dropped Ryu and went with Terry. And so as I went with Terry, I started getting into Elite Smash, and he was there. I'm like, oh, cool. Like, if you want to try and really hard and get somewhere in Smash and then struggle, end up being nowhere, be Ryu. But if you want to be successful, just be Terry. That's the kind of message Smash sends you. Yeah. Same thing with Ken. That's why everyone dropped them for Terry, because these guys need buffs. That's how you know if a character needs buffs or not. Shulk. Shulk's good. I don't think Shulk needs really any buffs. I mean, if there's any glitches or anything that need adjusting, then of course. But again, of course, get in this next section here. I think Shulk, Hero, and Mr. Game Watch, because things that are happening lately with other parts of the world and other things that are doing tournaments. I think some of them are offline too, like Japan. They're contending for possibly spots in here for top tier. I'm looking at matchups and other things too. I think Shulk, Hero are just those kind of characters that can just deal all around anything. They just have very few bad matchups. And the only kind of matchups they have are characters that not only just play very safe, but can deal consistent damage and really, really kill. So they'd be like characters up in this category up here. So again, I'm going to have to say these guys are here, like Shulk and Hero from Dragon Quest, are contenders for top tier, or coming up within the top 20. Or top 16, I guess. I put it top 16. I could make it top 20, I guess. Or I made it 18, my bad. I could make it top 20. If I wanted to add, like, top 20, I could. I put 9 here. Yeah, I should rearrange that. Well, let me... Because results, how things have been. Let me update this. And I should rearrange this. Because there have been characters that have proven themselves. If I could add another character up here that have proven themselves, it would be... Snake's proven himself, of course, but I'm going to put it back here. Also dropped off. Wolf. There's a reason to put Wolf there. Just arrange this a little bit. You know what? Move Greninja down here. Yeah, I've decided I will go over these characters, but then I'm going to talk about Greninja and why I've decided to place it like this. And then what we'll do is we'll go over the rest of this in another video, the final part, and why it's like this. Yeah, Shulk Hero, essentially, again, it's not just results, it's matchups and what the characters can do, consistency. It's kind of also the same thing with Game & Watch. You know, they just look at what they do, even though they're very different characters. It's just the way they handle situations and an adaptation. I have to say, they even have results too. I mean, it's not even, you know, something you can truly question anymore. They have results. You know, the offline and online. So it's not something you can really truly question. And there's even things from online that translate to offline just fine. You know, some things. So you can't truly question these placements too much. Other than maybe you should say like, oh, maybe Mr. Game & Watch should be, you know, somewhere else on this. But again, I'm gonna give my reasons for that. But yeah, the fact is that these characters here, Mr. Game & Watch Hero from Dragon Quest and Shulk from Xenoblade Chronicles, are extremely versatile characters and are extremely balanced, have really good character matchups, have results, and have good players to back up what they can do, and still potential to do more and grow. So I think that's very important to consider and why they're placed where they are, and that they can even potentially go, you know, beyond where they are and place higher. Is what I'm trying to say. And I'm gonna go to talk about Greninja now. So we're going back a step here for a second. Greninja. I put Greninja here because of it's a little more than just the results. It's matchup chart and, you know, what they're able to do. It's a little beyond online and offline. It's just consistency and just options with this character, and what we've seen top players able to do with the character. The character is just an extremely consistent combo character, and of course, with the right hands, can potentially go. Just to give you an idea, you know, right in here somewhere, I think. And obviously, in the wrong hands, it's gonna look kind of like, you know, just to be fair, something down here or here, right? Like, it's gonna look very suspicious, right? Maybe even down here, right? It's gonna look extremely suspicious. I mean, I've even seen like, in the wrong hands, look something like this, like where we're talking like noob level, right? But we're talking like top level tournament. I think right now, what we're looking at here, when we see Greninjas play at the top level, they're right here above Ken and Ryu. Even characters that are still being looked at, learned, and adapted, like Sephiroth, they're above Cloud because they can take care of him, handle him more. I think him off stage. They can deal with Samus's, Falco's, Banjo's, these sorties here. They can deal with Wario. They can handle Mega Man good enough. Link, Rob, Pichu, even with the buffs. Bowser, Inkling. I'll go so on and so forth. We're talking at top level Greninja, so that's the simplification argument here with matchups. If we're looking at like what the environment is right now and what translates to offline, Greninja is a very, very solid character, and Greninja and like Cloud, as characters. You could even argue Wario maybe too. Certain characters like that are kind of like the gatekeepers to in our current environment, and other things are like the gatekeepers to go into the top part of the tier list, the top portion, or the top tier. Yeah, like are like within the top 20 up here, I guess. Yeah, so that's something to consider. Yeah, these are the other options we had for skins to choose, and I just, yeah, didn't. Now, so before I close this video here, I just want to say thank you for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe. If you want to leave a comment or ask me anything, just go ahead and do that. I'd appreciate it. And if there's any top players especially want to give me some information, advice, or anything, that'd be fine too, and I'd appreciate it. Thank you for watching my video, and you guys have a great day.